You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Welcome to another edition of Reflections, where I am your host today, Shirley Hood. We are very excited to have a special guest on our new episode. I've been anticipating this great episode. Why? Because we had the opportunity to meet this great guest. We had him for our Judah Jam Festival on last year, where he came out and provided support to a great cause. And we're so delighted to have him on today. We have so many questions that we want to ask him, what is going on in our local city. And I'm just waiting just to hear all the answers that we're going to hear from him on today. So without any further ado, we're going to introduce to you Mayor Bob DaSilva. Mr. Bob DaSilva, it's so great to have you on our show.
Thank you.
We had the opportunity to meet you on last year for my Judah Jam Festival, where you came out and you supported a great cause, you know, that we were embarking on. And I tell you, it was clear that you know this cause so well. I mean, so much violence, gun violence, is what we had on last year. It has been impacting our city. I had a family member who lost her son due to that, and so we wanted to, you know, make awareness known as what we're gonna do this year. So we wanted to have you on today, and we just want to ask those questions that I'm pretty sure most of us want answers on. So first, what I would like to do is just to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got elected as mayor.
Thank you. First, Shirley, I want to thank you for inviting me to be on your show today. I'm quite honored. And I want to thank you for everything you do in the community to bring awareness to what we did last year with gun violence and what you plan on doing this year with domestic violence. I think these are two issues that have always been important to me. I served 25 years as a police officer for the city of Pawtucket and retired as a police captain. And I saw my share of both gun violence and domestic violence and, you know, amongst other things. But it's important to have people like yourself bring awareness and try to bring change to our environment. But as for the question, how did I become mayor, and a little bit about myself. Yes. So, you know, my family immigrated to this country, like many families from other places in the world, to start a new beginning. They came from Portugal. My first language was Portuguese. I didn't speak a word of English until I ended up going into kindergarten, and even then it took a while, you know, to pick up the language because all we spoke at home was Portuguese. But I really am grateful that I had the opportunity to learn that Portuguese language because it helped me in the future, right? Yes. So as I entered into a law enforcement career, I chose to work in the city of Pawtucket, which had a very vibrant Portuguese, Cape Verdean community, Hispanic community, and my ability to communicate directly with the people when I was pulling up on calls was always very helpful. Yes. So, you know, I've always been involved in public service. I've loved, my thing is I love coming into a situation, if I can try to fix it, make it better, and then leave it a better situation. That's what I've always done. Yes. I did that as a police officer. I was fortunate during my career. The opportunity came for me to run to be a Rhode Island State Representative, and I did. I was a Rhode Island State Representative in 2009 when I first entered office. I served 4 years. very involved in the community. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Karina, who immigrated here from the Dominican Republic. You know, so we have Spanish and Portuguese going on at home, right? I have two beautiful children. 18-year-old Donovan, who's a senior at the high school. He'll be graduating this year, and 13-year-old Dorian, who's at 7th grade at Martin Middle School. Very proud of both of my kids. But I became involved in the community in many different aspects with different organizations. I started a youth soccer program here in East Providence called East Providence Youth Soccer Association with some other people. It wasn't me by myself, but it's a great program, services hundreds of children. The opportunity came up to run for mayor. People reached out when we changed our form of government from a city manager form of government to a mayor form of government. People reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this? I think this would be a good thing, you know, for our city to have somebody with your background experience in the legislature, your background as a leader in the police department, to come in and get involved." And you know, after speaking to my family and some other friends, I decided, let me try this.
Wow.
And,
wow.
And I am honored, and honored that the people of East Providence chose to, you know, to put their trust in me. And it's been a very good first 4 months.
Wow, that's wonderful, wonderful. Well, and congratulations to you, Mayor.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to you. Well, we want to get down to the questions that some of us want to know about. First, let's start off. I know you touched on this already, but winning in the historical mayoral race in your hometown, and now forever being in the history books as the first elected mayor in East Providence, what does that personally mean to you? Has it even sunk in yet?
Well, it has sunk in. I don't really, I don't focus on the fact that I'm the first elected mayor. That kind of stuff, you know, it was exciting at first, but I'm really focused on what is really weighing on me is I want to be able to do the right thing. I want the people at the end of my term to look back and say, you know, we made the right decision in changing this form of government, and we made the right decision in selecting Bob DaSilva to be that first mayor. And you know, it's going to be an exciting time. We're working very strongly with our community partners to bring positive change, and I feel that, you know, I'm hoping at the end of 4 years, people will look back and say, you know what, it was the right thing to do. You know? So
yes.
But yes, it does. You know, it does not. I do not lose the. I don't, you know, not realize that, yeah, it was the first time, but that doesn't, I don't really focus on that. I focus on, let me do what I can do now.
Yes,
for the people.
wonderful, wonderful. Now, it being the first few months that you have been in your new position of mayor, what 3 words would you use to best describe the start of your term? Determination, optimism, and excitement. So we're determined to carry forth our goals, all right? We're optimistic about the direction of the city with all of the wonderful things that are happening in our city right now, and we're excited to see these things come to fruition. Yes.
And you know, I am very, I can't express enough how this is not a 9 to 5 kind of job or an 8 to 4 kind of job. It's a 24-hour-a-day job for me, right? So everywhere I go, anywhere I am, I'm always speaking about the great attributes of our community. I'm always, if I run into a business owner, I always tell them, hey, come and talk to me. Let's look at East Providence as a potential.
Yes.
And I'm so excited about all the stuff that's going on here in the city.
Yes, what I do get, though, from you, you're very engaging, easy to approach, and, you know, and I think that's how it should be. You know, most politicians are not like that in a sense, but with you, I got the sense that you were so easy to approach, and you're easy where if we have issues that needs attention, as I mentioned to you about domestic violence, you passed that bill. And so, you know, it's very heartwarming to know that, that you made a difference, and you took a step and you said, let's make a difference in the community. Let's do this. Let's raise awareness against what matters the most. And that's why I'm so passionate of doing this kind of work, and would like to stay close to what you're doing and being impacted of the great cause. What is it that you are looking mostly to get done for the community?
We want, we want to continue the incredible development that's going on in our community. But you brought up the bill that I passed for the people at home who may not be aware of it. We were speaking before the cameras came on.
Yes.
As a Rhode Island state legislator, I had the opportunity to introduce a bill that made domestic strangulation a felony. So as my way has always been, when I see something that's not quite right, I want to try to fix it. I want to make the corrections that we can to make things better. So I was a police officer, and I used to see victims that were brutally attacked. They were strangled by their partners, and we used to have to charge them as a misdemeanor offense. And I just couldn't reconcile that in my mind. I'm like, how are we charging this person with a misdemeanor offense when they just went through a very traumatic, dangerous situation? So I decided to introduce a bill. I reached out to our community partners, domestic violence advocates, everybody in the community, and I said, look, we need to pass a bill that will protect victims of domestic violence. Let's make strangulation a felony.
Yes.
And lo and behold, with the support of the rest of the legislature, we had that bill passed. And now, I saw the difference right away as a police officer, because I got to see that bill in action while I was a police officer, how it was changing people's lives. Because now a victim of that type of crime, the offender was being charged with a much more serious offense, and he or she was more likely not to do that because they knew what was going to happen. But that's one of the things. So when I look at what I want to do here in the city, it's about affecting positive change.
Yes.
How can I affect positive change?
Yes.
And we've started that already. I'll give you a small example.
Please.
All right? So I came in, and within the first couple of weeks, somebody reached out to me and said, hey, what's going to happen with our recreation center for the kids?
Yes.
We haven't been able to utilize the basketball court for 18 months. This was a person that emailed me, right? So I went in to look up the situation. I reached out to our rec director. I said, hey, I'd like to take a tour of our recreation center. I had also been seeing some bills come through because we were paying 1/3 of the utilities at this facility, and it was substantial utilities. I said, can we take a tour? Can we take a look at what we have here? And when I looked, I couldn't believe that our children were being asked to go to this facility as their rec center with no basketball court. There was nothing for them to really, there's nothing, that they really could do there. And we were paying $64,000 a year. It didn't make sense to me. So I reached out to our senior center director. I reached out to our rec director. We sat down, we said, look, let's get those children into a better environment.
Yes.
We're going to move them over to the recreation center, the lower portion of the recreation center that's underutilized. Let's put them in there. The programs that are currently going on at this facility, we can absolutely move over here with minimal to no impact on the seniors.
Right.
We'll be saving $64,000 a year. And in the meantime, I've started the process already to look into building a recreation facility for our children and for our seniors.
Wonderful.
So this is the type of thing I see as a leader. You have to take action. It may not always be the most popular action, and you're not going to be able to please everybody, but the overall benefit to the entire community is what I look at. How do we make a change that's going to impact everybody?
Yes, I love how you say make a change. I love it. I have 2 boys of my own, and I'm concerned about them when they go to the after-school program because I work full-time. So I'm a full-time single mother with 2 boys. So when my oldest boy, who attends the Boys and Girls Club, I want to be able to see that is not just a place for them to go and play, but a place for them to learn.
Exactly.
And so by you mentioning that, I really, because our children are our future.
Absolutely.
And we want to be able to create change and have more these after-school programs that are so available for our kids.
Yes.
Because the last thing that we want our children, especially mine, is to be caught up in the streets.
Yeah.
We want to be able to have these after-school programs that will bring change to our children, not just to be there to play, but teach them something.
Once again, you are right on point, because what people have found is that if you keep children engaged in activities, sport. That's why I was a big supporter and proponent of youth sports, okay, and recreational activities, because you keep kids engaged in something other than hanging around and getting in trouble.
Yes.
Keep them engaged. But what your question raises is, I wasn't ready to talk about this today, but I'll give you the scoop.
Yes,
okay?
please.
So we sat down just last week with the police department and with East Bay CAP and Workforce RI. And they came to us, they said, look, we'd like to be able to see if we can help the community develop some type of program to get children who are at risk involved in learning about, the police service. So we sat down and talked. I said, let's see how we can work this out. And I recommended, I said, listen, why don't we have a youth police academy? How you know how they do like a citizens police academy? So I said, let's have a youth police academy for our children. Let's see if we can run a pilot program. And so right now, very early stages, but they've got some funding available that they would actually pay the children a stipend to attend a 5-week program. So they would be learning about public safety, police, fire, in a classroom academy type setting with the help of the police department, the fire department, and East Bay Collaborative, working together to teach these kids about the opportunities in public safety, keep them engaged during the summer months for at least 5 weeks, and the children will earn a stipend.
Wow.
So we're very excited. Now this money is federal and state money that is allocated through Workforce RI and East Bay CAP. So we're excited about that. You're learning about it here before it's even been fully developed.
Yes, yes.
But I did get an email earlier this morning from Brian Hannon at East Bay CAP outlining the initial program, how it could work, and the funding that he has available. So we definitely want to kick this off this summer.
Wow, that is so great. I'm hoping to get my son involved. His father is in the police force, and so he said to me he wanted to grow up to be a state trooper.
Wonderful.
So to hear that is just so enlightening, because this gives my son the opportunity to be engaged in something that's positive instead of being out in the street. Because as a concerned mother of 2, you want your kids to be involved in something positive.
I agree.
And so I just thank you for sharing that with us, and we're looking forward to it.
I can't wait to see this program kick off.
Yes. So the next question we have, has the transition from being a police captain for the city of Pawtucket to the first elected mayor in the city of East Providence been easy? And did you ever imagine entering this phase of public service?
Well, I'd be lying if I was to say that I don't miss working with my friends and colleagues at the city of Pawtucket. It was 25 years of my life. I just turned 50 in March, so I'm 50 years old. So half of my life was working for the city of Pawtucket as a police officer, rising through the ranks, and with some very incredible professionals that I enjoyed working with. So do I miss that? Absolutely, I miss that. Has the transition been difficult? It's a different role now. It's a different job, but I think what's really prepared me is having worked at different levels of management as a police officer, having been a former legislator and knowing how the legislative process works and operates. It really has helped me to transition into this role as the chief executive of the city of East Providence. And I still miss the job. I think in my heart, I'll always have that love for law enforcement. But I am enjoying what I'm doing here now.
It's not in its questions, but I just have to say, I see so much sincerity in you and compassion. Where do you think that comes from when you are so involved about change and so involved about helping those that are in need? Where does that come from?
That comes from my parents. Wow. My mother and father, don't get me emotional now. I am blessed to have my mother and father with me, but they came, I'm in awe about how my mom was 19 years old, came to this country to start a new life without knowing many people here, right? Wow. So she left her hometown, came here to start with my dad. They had just gotten married, and they worked all their lives in factories, jobs, to offer their children, she had 3 children, right, the opportunity at great success.
Wow.
Right? And my mother was very religious, Catholic. We're Roman Catholic, very religious. We used to be very involved with our church, and she educated me on what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
You know, and I've always been that type of person that I like to see justice, and I think that's what led me to a law enforcement career, and everything I've done, no matter where I've been, it's always to try to make things better.
Yes.
I think that's my role. I mean,
Yes.
that's why the people elected me.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you know, sometimes, like I said, in politics, in government, you're going to make decisions that are not going to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
But in the end, when it all plays out, they're like,
Yeah.
oh wow, this really worked
Yeah.
out. You know.
When
So-
you say it's not going, when you know those things that you do, you know, some are going to agree and then there's some that don't. What do you say, or what do you think when you find out they didn't agree of decisions that was made or even done?
I know that a lot of times when decisions are made without people having all of the information, they jump to conclusions.
Right.
Okay, and in this day and age of social media, you know, you have people out there that immediately jump on and they start spreading misinformation. So, you know, I made a decision that we were going to pull out of that recreation center, save $64,000 a year, and look to build a new one, and in the meantime, move them to the senior center. A lot of the seniors were concerned that this was going to infringe upon their programs. And they started to go a buzz around the senior center. So what I learned from that is I said, look, let's set up a meeting. I'd like to come and speak directly to the seniors to explain to them what it is we plan on doing.
Right.
And so we had almost 200 people in the room. It was wonderful.
Wow.
It was really a very good exchange of information. But after we sat down and spoke to them, after the meeting, people were coming up to me, thanking me, shaking my hand, saying, listen, I can see how this is going to work. And it's going to work because I've made the commitment to make sure that this does work.
Right.
So the buck stops with me, right?
Right.
So we're working to make this a positive transition. And it's only going to be short term because in the end, my goal is to build
Right.
a recreational facility that
Right.
not only the seniors will be able to, not only the children and the youth will be able to take advantage of, but the seniors can also utilize.
Wow.
So we're excited about that.
Wow, wow. How much of a difference? I mean, some of these questions are not here, but they are coming to me. But how much of a difference you would like to make for East Providence? How much of a difference do you want?
I want to make as much of a difference as possible. And what I want people to understand and feel is that what I want people to look at East Providence in the end is, hey, I want to come in to East Providence to raise my family. I want to come into East Providence to start a business. I
Yes.
want to come into East Providence to educate my children,
Wow.
raise my children. So I want people to look at East Providence as their first choice.
Yes.
And I'll tell you some of the things that are going to happen. I was fortunate to take a tour of Plymouth South. It's a high school that was built 2 years ago in Plymouth, Mass. The same architect that designed that school is designing our new high school that is going to be built.
Wow.
So in June of this year, June 5th or 6th, we don't know the exact date, we're going to have a groundbreaking for the new high school.
Wow.
Now, a lot of the concepts and ideas that are utilized in this Plymouth South high school are also going to be incorporated into this new East Providence high school. I was absolutely in awe of how beautiful this facility is. The students, we were there for the principal and superintendent at Plymouth Schools South took us on a tour. They spent several hours with us, showed us the whole place. I was so impressed at how orderly the students changed from class to class just because of the flow, the way that it was designed and the atmosphere. And it was just, it's such a beautiful thing that's going to happen here in East Providence. And that type of building and facility will be here in East Providence within 3 years. We're hoping earlier than 3 years, but they're breaking ground this June. Once that facility is up and running and people drive by Pawtucket Ave and they see this incredible school educational facility, everyone's going to want to come to East Providence.
Wow.
We're going to be the first destination.
Wow.
When people are looking to set up their first home, their family, it's going to be East Providence. I'm so excited about what's going on.
Oh my God, I should move back to East Providence. Sound like everything good is happening there.
You're welcome to.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about, you know, the future and the endeavor of East Providence. And to have you as mayor, I'm just so for change and and for things that you're doing. And it's just so positive to hear stuff like this. And that's what we want. We just want to make the city better.
Yeah.
All cities better.
Exactly.
You know, for our children, for our senior citizens, I mean, for everyone. We just want to make an impactful change. So we thank you for taking this role and creating a difference for our community.
But Shirley, if I can just interrupt, people like you are the big driving factor. Really, it is. You can't do it by yourself.
Yes.
A mayor, a city council can't do it by yourself. You
Yes.
need community involvement. You need
Yes.
people like yourself
Yes.
involved, getting other people to work together as a team.
Yes,
So
yes.
I thank you for everything you do in the community.
Thank you so much. It's so good to hear because I get a little discouraged from time to time, and I'm thinking, is it even worth to put this festival together? Is it anybody hearing or want to be part of the change and the awareness? So I know I have to continue to do this.
Absolutely.
This is what I love to do. I love being involved, and I love change.
Excellent.
Change. So here we go. Can you share 4 goals that as mayor you hope to work towards during your 4-year term?
Well, there's 4 things that come to mind is the continued development on our waterfront. We have some great opportunities coming up. We just had a press conference, not a press conference, a workshop, public meeting yesterday regarding the Henderson Bridge. So the old Red Bridge, everyone refers to as the
Yes,
Red Bridge,
yes.
Henderson Bridge. We were blessed, Senator Jack Reed was able to secure about $54 million to replace that bridge, okay?
Yes.
That was with the help, of course, of Senator Whitehouse and Representative Cicilline. So they were able to secure this money, and within 2 years, they want to have this project complete. They want to replace this bridge completely. And what's been happening behind the scenes and now publicly is we've been meeting with the Providence Planning Department, the East Providence Planning Department, and the DOT to kind of talk about what are our ideas for this bridge? How should it look? How should it offer greater connectivity to the waterfront? How should it offer greater pedestrian and bicycle access to the waterfront? So we're working on that. So that waterfront development with that bridge project is huge on the radar for us. We also want to see the high school come to a completion in its timeline. Okay, we're going to work hard to make sure that we do that in a fiscally responsible manner to make sure that we do it at the greatest possible savings. We're looking at the recreation center is something that is huge. Voters twice in East Providence voted on bonds that would authorize the building of a recreation facility, and it was never carried out. So I feel that that's something that the people deserve. We can do it. We can have it built, hopefully within 2 to 3 years. And then we also have the tax relief. You know, I ran on offering people a little bit of tax relief by returning their homestead exemption back incrementally if we can. But working with the council and our department heads, we hope to see if we can find some savings where we may be able to offer that type of tax relief. But what is going to be the greatest driver in offering that tax relief is the continued development that's going on.
Yes.
As we keep broadening our tax base, we're going to see the ability to offer greater tax relief. So,
Yes. Well, we are running out of time.
Okay.
But although we didn't get all the questions answered, but we certainly got enough to hear of the change and that it's going to be impacted in East Providence. Listen, if you have questions or if you are driven for things to be done or ideas that you may have, please send an email.
You can send an email.
Email to Bob DaSilva. You can go to his website. He would love to hear from you.
The city email is mayor@cityofeastprov.com. And I don't know if you can put it on the bottom of the page.
Yes, we will certainly will.
Yeah.
We certainly enjoyed this episode of Reflections TV with our special guests, Mayor Bob DaSilva of East Providence, Rhode Island. We thank you so much for being a part of this show. We certainly enjoyed everything that has been said and done. And again, we'd like for you to tune in on next month where we're going to have 4 leaders who is going to come on, and we want to answer those questions that you are going to post on our Facebook page. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We want those questions so that we can answer them on air. So again, my name is Shirley Hood, and thank you for watching this new episode of Reflections TV. Have a great day.